This is Fritz Frivolous with continuous live coverage of the corner of Curious Lane and Just Because Boulevard, the epicenter of the alien invasion. And this just in, King Kong is fighting the Mobile Suit Gundam. And of course, all of this is happening amidst World War IV, making it pure pandemonium. If only Captain Planet were still alive to save us all. Dude, could you imagine? Telepathy, the ability to read someone's mind. Is it real? Some say it doesn't exist. Others swear that there are those living among us who have the ability to hear our thoughts. But have you ever wondered, if you could read minds, what would you do with this power? Tonight, we will hear from two of the world's foremost authorities on this matter, Will and Tom. And hopefully we can separate fact from fiction.
Hey everyone, this is Will Stark.
Hey everyone, I'm Tom Case, and do you know what I'm thinking, Will?
What are you thinking?
So you don't know what I'm thinking?
No, I have no idea.
So you do not have the ability to hear other people's thoughts?
No, I do not. Of course I do not.
Could you imagine if you could hear other people's thoughts?
I don't know if I'd want to hear other people's thoughts. Okay, so we got to set some parameters.
Okay.
Am I in control of when I hear other people's thoughts?
Let's say not at first.
Okay.
But ultimately you will be able to gain that ability.
Okay, so I can hone in and target on a single person.
Yes.
Okay, and so not everyone thinks, we've learned this, or we've had this conversation, not everyone thinks in like an inner monologue style of thought process. I do. We've established that you do. And a good amount of people do, but there's plenty of people that don't hear their own voice in their head kind of thing. They don't hear like that narrator voice. Yeah, so what about those? What am I hearing? Killers, right? What am I hearing if I'm looking at Patricia and Patricia thinks in colors for some fucking reason?
Ooh, that is very. I did not think about it. What is that called? Like autosensia or?
I don't know, bro.
Oh man.
I mean, feel free to Google stuff. Like this is not.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but yeah. So that's one of my first questions of like number one. What is the question? Are we asking if I want this or like?
No, like if you just had it all of a sudden. Let's just say all of a sudden you woke up, and you had the ability to hear what other people are thinking.
Yeah. What would I do with it? Mm-hmm. That's a good question.
Well, you know what? Okay, this is one of those questions that is perfect for a thing I like would you, right?
Okay.
Cool. It's going to be a quick fire, and we'll go back to these. We'll come back depending on what thing? We'll come back to that too. Yeah. But okay, this is would you?
Okay.
If you had this ability to hear other people's thoughts, would you tell family?
No. Well,
I don't know. You jumped to no real quick there
because my first instinct is like, oh hell no, I'm not telling anybody. But I think there's two people that are my confidants in life. That's my sister and my fiance. I would definitely
we'll
tell
put
them.
Maybe,
and I would trust them to not tell anybody.
Okay, now I know this may sound the same, but a lot of people view family and friends very differently. So would you tell friends?
There's no friend that I can think of that I would tell.
Would you use this ability to your advantage to make money?
See, that was one of my first thoughts of like, how would I use this like to my benefit if I would? It just depends. I'm trying to think of like, how could I use this to my benefit in a way that wasn't like a nefarious way. You know what I mean? Like using people's thoughts against them or like manipulating them to like me. Like, I'm not really into that idea. I'm not really interested in that. Plus, it sounds like a lot of work, and I'm not into that. But at the same time, am I able to, like, delve into a person's mind to find, like, where they've hidden their blah, blah, blah?
No, this is just purely surface like what they're thinking right? At that moment. If you were to focus in, you would know what they're thinking. Yeah. Even if you're not focusing, if you're in a small room and there's like maybe 3 people there, you can pick up on everyone in there.
You know, like I'm sure there's lots of practical uses for this. I'm just failing to think of one right now. Because the fact of the matter is, like, most of us are thinking about our own innate bullshit all day. So I'm going to sit here, hone in on Steve, and Steve's going to be thinking about whatever his problems are at home, and Bill's going to be thinking about promotion at work, and so-and-so is going to be... I'm going to run into all kinds of thoughts that I don't even want to know, like weird, like intimate, personal thoughts that also would do me no good. So
everyone listening to this, just imagine what goes through your mind sometimes when you're talking to someone.
Like, They're like, I'm gonna wander into people's weird daydreams where they're like slaying a dragon while on top, with a dildo sword, or like whatever weird shit they're
with
thinking.
the Mandingo 3000.
Yeah, that exactly. So, how would you use this power to do you have any like?
Well.
Where
real
would this
quick,
power become useful?
Did you say yes or no to making money with it?
I would try. I think I would try for
so I'm going to put that as a maybe.
And I'm sure I would come up with something.
Me, I'll be honest with you. I already see the real bad connotations of telling family and friends on this because of the fact that they will probably feel very uncomfortable around you, knowing the fact that you're probably listening in on them. I feel that would be more towards friends than family, because I think family would, depending on who you're talking about, like if it's your brother, my brother would probably be okay with it because we know how each other thinks already anyway. You know what I mean? Yeah. So,
well, also I would just have no interest in reading the minds of like the people close to me anyways, because it's like
you kind of already know.
I already know them, love them, don't need to know what else is going on unless they want to share it with me.
Yeah.
I'm not looking to use my powers in any actual nefarious way, although it's a breach of consent no matter how you look at it.
Yeah.
You're
I mean, yeah, if you want to say that as nefarious, I was actually just thinking, how useful that could be if you did have a family member or friend or someone who's like, maybe they're very depressed and maybe they're suicidal and you didn't know that. You know what I mean? Like,
I think I would definitely see this gets into the conversation of like, fuck, are you almost obligated to do something if you know about a problem? And like most people have problems. Definitely. Like if you basically are kind of forced into this odd superhero-dom.
This kind of the morals of like if you should do it or not. I think
I would feel morally obliged, but I don't know if I would be good at the other end of like actually like addressing the issues that you come across. You know what I mean?
That would be a whole other ballgame right there.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
Would be.
So,
okay, so it would be a maybe with make money.
I would definitely try or think about it, but I don't know. That's tough.
I kind of know your answer on this one then. What about go public with it?
Oh, fuck no. Oh, hell no. No way.
And
they'll capture me and like I'll be the experimentation.
Well, okay, see, that goes on. That goes to the last part of...
They're taking the brain out. You know that's happening, right?
I was going to say, well, that goes on to the last part of would you, is aid your government.
No.
No?
Maybe in like a World War II scenario. Like,
yeah, I mean,
where like world domination's happening and like every the last alliance needs like every edge they can get. At that point, like, okay, yes, I'm joining the alliance.
I mean, the way things are going now, you never know. Like Russia's trying to take over the world.
When it comes to history, there's very few major conflicts like that where there's a clear black and white side.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. That is very true.
But so
to touch back though on something very, very interesting that you brought up. I didn't even think of that. So it's people who may see colors when they view or think about letters or numbers.
They think in images.
It's a synesthesia.
Oh, okay.
Or synesthesia.
Yeah. What does that
I think that's how. So it's basically it's when people basically see colors when they're viewing letters. Like if I were to say like if they were to see like the letter A painted somewhere on the wall, well, in their head, they may be seeing what we would think of the color blue. I don't know, whatever, something like that.
Yeah. But yeah, well, like people, there are like, there's a lot of people that think in images rather than in like audio words. What am I hearing if I'm honing in on those people?
That would be, you know what? That would be the interesting thing too. I wouldn't want to say you can feel feelings, but then also too, if they're a non-English speaker or they're speaking or they're thinking in a different language, you probably wouldn't understand what they're thinking.
I don't get like telepathy all like I would in D&D.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the show Heroes?
No, I haven't. God, this is like my other podcast where Brian asks me if I've seen something, the answer's always no. But yeah, go ahead.
Well, it's an awesome show. If you haven't seen Heroes, you should watch it. Yeah. But anyways, actually that happens. That show Heroes is all about people with different powers.
Right.
One of the powers is someone who can read minds. Now you would think, oh man, this guy can read minds. Like almost nothing could stop him, right? Because he would know what you're about to think or about to do because you're thinking of it.
Sure, yeah.
Right? I mean, not nothing could stop him, but it would be a very, very useful tool. But, go ahead.
It'd be useful in like any sport or contest, and that's like, it could use it like that, but like, no, I'm good.
Yeah, that would definitely run into the morals part. Exactly. Because like, then you have an advantage nobody else has.
Right.
You know what I mean?
True.
But in the show, that's exactly what happens is, you think like, oh, this guy, he could read your mind. What can you do? But the other character in this show starts thinking in I want to say language? Chinese or something like that. Yeah. So he can't understand it. So it's like you do have a weakness there. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I just see that in Dungeons and Dragons, most things that have telepathy, it crosses all languages. It's like telepathy all and like so there's that. But that's just because like it's just a shortcut.
And then too, like, you know, the other end of that, like if you let's say like in X-Men, you know what I mean? You have, you know, Charles Xavier and like he reads minds, you know what I mean? He's one of the most powerful minds on the planet.
Yeah,
so, you know,
but he doesn't just read minds.
Yeah,
like,
he
goes way beyond
Oh, yeah, he goes way beyond that. But then you have someone that's like Jean Grey, who necessarily couldn't do exactly what he did.
She's more of a telekinetic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know what I mean? And I kind of feel like she picked up on emotions more than like, let's say Xavier would do. But I think Xavier, because I think Xavier's was like so much more powerful that he could pick. Yeah, like why would you just want to pick that up like an empath or something? He
pinpoints stuff like, Xavier is like highly questionably moral when especially in the comics. In the comics, he does questionable shit all the time. Mm-hmm. Like he's not like I love the Charles Xavier who is like the Dumbledore, the Gandalf, right? The wise, moral Obi-Wan Kenobi archetype. But in the comics, he's really kind of not like that. He's more of a guy who compromises on his morals more often than not. But I digress. So anything else you want to talk about when it comes to mind powers?
Well, I mean,
I'm not sure what I would do with this. And quite frankly, I don't know if I'd want it.
You know, I know what I would I don't think I would go public because I do think that it's not just your own government that would be coming after you. There would be a lot of people.
Absolutely. They don't know what
but to make money off of, you know, that's a gray area to me because I would try to find something that would at least try to help someone and make money off of. You know what I mean? Like, to make money from that.
It's difficult to use that in a well, I don't know if it's difficult to use in a helpful way, but it's difficult to use in a helpful way that'll make you money.
I mean, I do see it more in a counseling way because
that would be fantastic.
Because you know when like especially, you know, I've never been to a therapist, but I'm assuming that no matter how much truth you're supposed to tell your therapist, you probably don't say 100%.
No, definitely.
You know what I mean? And being a therapist, knowing when the person is lying, like knowing where maybe you can get to the root problem quicker, you know, more quickly.
Or knowing when something you're saying isn't working.
Yeah, that too.
Like, knowing, like, without having to wait for a reaction or having to wait, you know, a couple weeks to see if there's progress, knowing right there in the moment that what you're saying is having the opposite effect of what you're intending, and you can take a different tactic right there. That would be nice.
Yeah. In the show Two Heroes, that Matt Parkman is the character that actually has that power. Mm-hmm. When he first starts using it, you know, he has a troubled home life with his wife, and you know, the interesting thing was he starts using it in that way. He starts talking to her about their problems, and then he can hear her say like, "Oh, not this again," you know, or she's like, "Oh, geez, he's gonna stop," and so then he stops and he's like, oh, she's not responding well to that. And he switches up his tactic. Yeah. You know, and of course everything works out. You know what I mean?
Like, it was just a lesson saying communication is key, right?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Like he should maybe have been paying more attention to like her reaction, but these are things she should have been telling him so that they could actually talk about it and have, you know,
and a lot of people have a problem with communication.
A lot of people have a problem with communication.
Yeah, so reading someone's mind, like being able to hear their thoughts, I think
could be useful.
Would be
I think in the end, if it came down to like someone gave me like a vial or a pill or whatever, it's like when you have that, you will have the power, but you can walk away now. I think I'm choosing walk away now. And the main thing is because the power behind having it seems like really tempting to use in small ways that become a slippery slope where you start compromising on your morals. And like, don't get me wrong, morals and ethics are very important to me. They always have been. But like one of the things that fascinates me about them is like very, very few people, myself included, I think are capable of completely resisting certain temptations, and like morals and ethics can be compromised on in even the best of us. And so I think when it comes down to it, not interested in this power.
Yeah, you know what? I'll be honest with you. Complete disclosure. If I'm being completely honest, if I had this power, and even if someone told me like, hey, you know what? If please don't read my thoughts. Like I don't feel comfortable being around you if you do that. And if I even told them yes, and I would try to keep it, but there would be times, I know there would be, I would just be like, well, what are they thinking right now? You know what I mean? Like, right. I would know, and you're right. I would slip, and every time you slip, because like they wouldn't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
When I say that, I don't think less of anybody who would slip. Like I would.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah.
Most people would slip. We're flawed.
It's easy to because it's one of those things.
To justify it in the moment.
Yeah, because they wouldn't know. They would never know if you just stayed quiet. So. Out of all the would you, the what I'm going to call these the fast five. Because like if we ever come with other questions, I'm going to probably give you the same ones.
Nice. Okay, I'm into that. Yeah, so, that's really cool.
Good thinking. Most of these, thanks. You know, it's sometimes lightning bolts hit my head. You know? So I think how you answered it, you said no to telling families. Maybe your sister and maybe your wife or something like that, right?
Yeah, definitely those two.
No to friends. Mm-hmm. Maybe to making money, but that's even iffy. Yeah. And definitely no to going public and no with aiding your government.
Yeah.
So you want to keep this a secret. So now I think the last thing I could really think about talking about this power is how secretive do you think you can keep this? Like how difficult or easy do you think it would be someone, whether they be close to you or not, to figure out like, I think Will can read my mind?
I think, me personally, I could probably get away with the rest of my life without anyone knowing. Because I have a tendency to be really aware of how people react to me. Like, even like, I pay attention to eye movement and like changes in their cadence of voice and like changes in the vocabulary from like, they're usually using vocabulary like in such a way, but in this moment, it's kind of coming off a little different. So something's going on with them. Like I'm always thinking about that stuff anyways, constantly, that like, I think I'm almost the perfect person to give this power to keep it a secret. Because I'm good at reading people and utilizing the information about them anyways. So yeah.
I definitely agree with that. Yeah, I think
you're around me a lot. You see the way I am with people.
Because I
analyze them constantly.
Yeah, exactly. And I, on the other hand, though, if I did have this, I think the people closest to me would know when I'm reading their mind, because I am very like I'm a people pleaser. Like I want to please my friends. I want to have that. I want them.
Sure. Yeah.
I want to make sure they're having a good time or whatever.
Of course.
And if I start hearing them like, oh, I wish I had this. Like, oh man, too bad. I wish Tom had chicken wings. Yeah. I would be like, hey man, let's order up some chicken wings. You know, I would do that.
That's when you got to think about not being too obvious.
I know, but I couldn't. You know what I mean? I know I would no matter how hard I would try, I would just, even if I didn't say, hey, let's order chicken wings, I'd be like, beep, boop, boop, beep, boop, beep,
oh, I ordered some chicken wings.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, can I order some chicken wings over here?
What a coincidence. What are you talking about? Coincidence? Yeah, I mean,
I know. Yeah.
Yay, wings.
Yeah. Who ordered these wings? You know what I mean? Like somebody knocks on the door. Hey, wings? Did you guys order wings? You know, and they're like, why would we order wings at your house? You know?
Seriously.
But then after, you know, they may not know the first time. They'll just be like, oh, I was just thinking about that Tom.
Yeah. They'd be like, that's crazy.
But after you know, maybe the 20th time or so, 9 times, whatever, 10 times, they would be like,
this is weird.
You know, and I do have friends. I know. I especially have one friend.
Yeah.
I know what he would do.
Yeah.
He would start talking shit about me in his head
see if he
would get me to react. Yes, and I would really probably react. You know what I mean? And it would be blown.
Yeah.
It would be blown.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
Definitely. Dude, could you imagine?
Breaking news, a new study suggests leaving an iTunes review is very important for newly created podcasts. So to nurture your new favorite podcast, make sure to leave an iTunes review. This has been Fritz Frivolous, reminding you to like, comment, and subscribe. Will and Tom, back to you. They've been called monsters. In Greek, the word is chimera. The Japanese call them kaiju. Are they man-made mistakes or forces of nature? If creatures like King Kong or Godzilla really existed, how would that change your life? How would that impact the world? Let us listen in on two self-proclaimed experts, Will and Tom, as they discuss this titanic topic.
I know that you don't watch a lot of movies, but
I feel like I do, because I'm always asking you, have you seen this?
Oh, yeah,
and you're always telling me no, so it's like I live in a parallel universe where...
maybe. Yeah, maybe. I think you know what it is. Actually, I think it's genres. I think it's the genres.
Be the genres.
I think I'm into certain genres.
What genres are you into that I'm not?
Like, Well,
I
guess
do
you're
like
right.
animation a lot, so there's that. But I'm used
and I
to
don't
that.
mind it, but I'm not like super into that.
Yeah, I've always been into animation. Just
I am definitely into a lot of I do like a lot of fantasy or action. Like superhero type movies. I'm into all that. Well, I don't know if you're going to see this one or not. I actually don't know if I'm going to see it.
Is this one I haven't seen?
Nobody has seen this yet.
Oh, okay.
Well, no, I shouldn't say nobody, but the general public haven't seen this yet.
Okay, cool.
At the time of this recording,
what are we talking about?
Is the new Godzilla versus King Kong movie,
my God.
right?
Okay, all right.
Because,
what about it?
dude, right? I mean, I know we're going to get into the part about, okay, who do you really think would win and why and all this kind of stuff. But that's not actually what I'm actually interested in.
Okay.
This is what I'm interested in. So, what if there were monsters like Godzilla, King Kong, Mothra, Rodan, all the
your Titans from
the classes. I'm not talking about none of your
it's like Pacific Rift then basically. Right?
Pacific Rim. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah.
It's Pacific Rim, yeah.
Yeah, it's basically gonna be like that. Yeah. The Kaijus. I think that's what they call them, right?
Yes.
Yes. So now imagine if they really existed. Okay.
I'm imagining.
So what I'm thinking is now we're living in this world, right? So where are you going to live? I mean, because that would have to be the top priority. And for me, if I'm living in this universe where kaiju really exist, and
okay, so this depends on what kaiju we're talking about. Because if we're talking about
we're talking about all of them.
Well, no, I mean from the recent Godzilla movies, right? All these monsters have now been made 10 times bigger than they ever were in the original. These things are so colossally huge that it literally doesn't... You know where I live? I try and live in space, Tom, because there's nowhere you can fucking live that they won't accidentally smash you. Because, we're talking about things that, you could live in a cave in the desert, and one of them might walk by and smash your mountain.
Which is what... I see what you're saying. You're saying, what era, not this one where they're...
now if we go back to, the
where they're
60s or whatever.
A little bit smaller than what they are.
Godzilla was only as tall as, half an Empire State.
Yeah, let's go with that, because you are right. That would be ridiculous, because that brings up another question on this, which would be... Where the fuck are these things hiding? You know what I mean? Where I know Godzilla comes out of
I think the idea is they're hiding under the earth or on that secret island over there. But my question is, what the fuck are they eating? Because
and sustaining themselves.
Enough
I know, right?
Food on Earth to sustain these things, unless they're taking in sun rays and
and that's
eating the radiation of the sun. Which maybe here's the truth, Tom. I haven't seen any of these movies, so I don't know. Maybe what I just said is true. Maybe Mothra and what were the other ones you named?
Rodan. And King
maybe
Kong
they're fucking eating sunbeams. And that's why it's so goddamn big.
You know what? I have seen some of these, and I do not remember seeing anything about that in there. I don't remember them being able to do photosynthesis or anything like that.
The main reason I haven't seen these movies is I see the size of them, well, that's just not physically possible.
Yeah. By the way, if any of you are listening are fans of these movies and these characters that we're naming off, we're about to pick apart these movies and show how they would never ever be able to happen. But no, that does raise a good question. Because but I am talking about the relatively smaller size.
So we're going with essentially what you're asking me is what if dinosaurs were real?
Yeah, that would be the same thing basically.
All dinosaurs that lived in the past show up now, and we have to deal with them. Where do I go? Probably high up in a mountain. Because the biggest of these creatures isn't going to go up there because less food, harder to breathe.
Then you got the pterodactyls, bro.
Yeah, but they're I can poke their wings with a spear. I could shoot them out of the sky.
Well, okay.
Yeah, they're leathery. Yeah,
I don't know if you're gonna sit there with a stick,
but I have more of a chance of doing that than fighting off a fucking T-Rex, bro. So my point is less oxygen, so the bigger animals can't even live.
Yeah, they wouldn't even go up there.
So a log cabin on a high mountain is my first go-to.
But that would be that would be
or a military.
That would
base.
be dinosaurs.
Yeah, or a military base. Actually, a military base is just my fucking answer. That's my best shot of survival.
Yeah, you know what?
Even if we go back to regular Godzilla,
because I was thinking, that's what I'm saying. So and King Kong and all the rest of them, because you would have to think I'm going to go, some people want to live by the sea. Yeah. There's people today that live in Tornado Alley, right? In the middle of the United States. and their house gets torn down by tornadoes 10 times, and then they rebuild in the exact same spot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this is what I want to get. This is what I'm getting at with this, is that there's going to be people who are like, oh, but I want to live by the beach. Okay, well, Godzilla's going to fucking come out of that water.
Yeah.
He's going to either breathe his light laser beams at you, whatever he's going to do. He's going to squash you.
Or eat you.
Or eat you or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, in that case,
or
then you
fight something and land on you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But let's say you survive, but your house is going to get demolished.
Yeah,
are you going to rebuild there again just because you want to live by the water?
No, I would.
You know what I mean?
I think, depending on like the actual situation here, but I would feel military base is probably definitely the go-to, the safest place. But also, I would then also feel obligated to join up with the militia force because we got a fucking world to defend, bro. Like, we have giant dragon monsters that came out of the sea, and they're fighting each other and killing all of us. So we got to do something. And giant gorillas, you know what I mean? I mean, you bring up another thing. You're talking about military. Yeah. Well, military is going to be controlled by some government. Yeah. So now these politicians that are in this government, their main platform probably all the time is going to be what can they do to save you. You know what? I don't even think it's going to be what they can do to save you physically from these monsters, because there may not be much that you could do. Yeah, sure. But what are they going to do, economically? What are they going to... Well, okay, so a lot of times when it comes to like existential crises that like force an entire nation to like any of the world wars, like force a nation like come together, like there in some ways the economy crashes and stuff like that, but in a lot of ways like the united effort of the one singular thing that everyone needs to do keeps things going and causes like a big boom in economy. Like, you know what I mean? If everyone's focused and everyone's trying to do this thing together, it means that we're probably all getting fed, all doing whatever it takes to get the effort done. And well, it's kind of like, okay, so a little bit off topic, let's bring this back to COVID-19. Like COVID-19 affects the entire world, right? And this is everyone's problem, and there needs to be a solution. And so we've managed to put together this vaccine faster than most other vaccines because we literally put all of our effort, all of our money, all of our best minds at it. Yeah. And we ran the trials simultaneously rather than do them back to back to back to back. And like, basically it's like, look what humans are capable of doing and how fast they're capable of doing it when the pressure's on. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. The pressure's going to be on. Everyone's going to be focused on taking down the kaiju and making a safe world. So like, everyone's joining the military. Everyone's going to do their best to make it safe. And if you're not more joining the military, you're making the weapons, you're making defenses, you're building walls, you're making food. Like, everyone's working together. You think then this would unify It would unify people, but it would also like the world governments and stuff. It would definitely lead to dictatorships, though, because what you're going to get is people who like see the need for a united like leadership, and you're going to get someone who feels like they're capable or should or it's a great opportunity to, and they're going to take control, and everyone's going to say it's okay because right now we all need to focus. Yeah. And I say that because like that's what happened with the Roman Empire. Every single time there was a crisis, and it worked really well. But and luckily for the first 500 years of the Republic, every single one of those dictators immediately stepped down when the crisis was over. Until Julius Caesar, but so like we're definitely gonna get dictator of this world. Yeah, it's definitely gonna be good for the economy in some ways. See, that's like some of the there's like a lot of things that are kind of like, I don't know if mundane is the word I want to use, but like the minutia. Exactly the everyday goings ons of stuff, and like like you got to imagine if this was real, right? You know what I mean? Like think of like the insurance. Like there would probably be like on your house insurance. I almost think there wouldn't be insurance because it's too common. Like, do you think it would, instead of like how insurances have like act of God, it would be act of kaiju? Where like, you know what I mean? Yeah, sure, like, absolutely. That's what it would be, right? Yeah. Like, you know what you need? Okay, I swear, I always say this, and it's never actually true, but you need to see this anime. It's called Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan. Okay. And I think you would like it. It's my sister's favorite anime, and in this world, at some point, these things called Titans, but they're like giant humans, but essentially show up, and they're pretty big. They vary in size. Some of them are like 15 feet tall. Some of them are like 50 feet tall. Yeah. But there's so goddamn many of them, and they basically end the world. And the story takes place in this one small country that's managed to keep them out with walls. Because these things, they just eat people voraciously. They just keep eating and growing. It's a very like gory anime. Oh, really? But the anime like really gives a good example of what we were just talking about, like a united front and military and all this other stuff. And like that's how these people manage to survive because like everyone's on the same page. And I think that's what happened. So
yeah, definitely what you're talking about with the military too just makes me think of like probably the technological advances they would make, especially with weaponry. I mean...
they say that in Pacific Rim, which was a good movie. They say, like, look what we managed to do when every country in the world came together with all the technology, and, like, we did this in, like, 10 years or some shit. And, like, they got a bunch of giant robots that functionally could never actually exist because just the sheer laws of physics. But it sure looked cool. I like that movie. That's the only Godzilla movie I like is Pacific Rim, even though it's not a Godzilla movie.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But, like, I mean, you know, it definitely just makes you wonder, like, you know, especially with now that this movie's coming out, I actually didn't think of the fact that you're right. They did increase the size of these monsters
to a point where
where it's almost hilarious because it's like, you know, like, especially King Kong, because King Kong was able to scale the Empire State Building in the original. I mean, and so that means like he's literally had to climb it. But in this one, I think he looks as tall as the Empire State Building. He has to be because like the current Godzilla is the biggest Godzilla's ever been, and in the trailer, it's very obvious he's about as tall, or if not close to as tall. So yeah. Which is fine, because if they fight, they have to be near even terms. Like otherwise, it's like Batman versus Superman, which is, you know, it's a different argument. You want to bring in Batman versus Superman? I don't, but, no, we'll bring that on another episode.
But speaking of King Kong, did you ever see Peter Jackson's King Kong?
The Skull Island one?
No.
Was that one? Oh no, which one was?
Bro, okay.
Did I not see that?
That reminds me.
I thought I did.
I was wrong. I have seen one of the current movies that we were talking about. I have seen Skull Island, and I actually enjoyed it. Yeah,
that one wasn't that bad.
Yeah, but no, I'm not talking about Skull Island. I'm talking about it's King Kong, starring is it Naomi Watts? Jack Black's in it.
I thought that was the Skull Island one.
No.
Jack Black's not in the Skull Island one?
No. The Skull Island one came out like 3 years ago.
Isn't Jack Black the character that he's the director?
Beauty Who Killed the Beast? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so you've seen that one.
Oh, I thought that was Skull Island.
No. That is a good movie, though. I really like that King Kong. No.
So I did see the Peter Jackson one. Then
it takes place in the 70s. It's starring oh my god, what's her name? The girl who plays Envy Adams in Scott Pilgrim. She plays a lot of other things too. That's like the first thing. She plays Captain Marvel.
Brie Larson.
Starring Brie Larson. Samuel L. Jackson's in it. And God, who's the main male? I don't remember.
Man, I didn't realize how much they all
John C. Reilly's in it too, actually. Surprisingly.
Oh, I love John C. Reilly.
Yeah. Dude, see Skull Island. It has no business being as good as it is. I thought it was going to be the dumbest movie ever. And like the premise is kind of stupid, but like I thoroughly fucking enjoyed it. Like it was super good.
So that means I must be thinking of the wrong one.
Yeah.
So I did see.
If you are going to see the Kong vs. Godzilla movie, you need to see Skull Island because in that movie, they're setting up Kong to be like the defender of man.
Oh,
and like in that movie, he's a baby, and he's still like the size of a building. Like he's fucking huge. Like, I mean, he's not like a baby. He's just like a small version. And both his parents are dead. And like, but yeah, they really.
I will avenge you.
Yeah, they set him up to be like the defender of man against the monsters.
Yeah,
and like they kind of alluded to that in the trailer I saw too, where. They're like, the legends are true, and you see Kong.
Oh, like, and he puts, exactly.
So, I forgot I had seen that one. I haven't seen, there's Godzilla, and I think King of Monsters. This one. So I haven't seen any of those, but I did see Skull Island, and it was very good. But Peter Jackson's King Kong is a very good movie as well.
Yeah, I definitely, I love King Kong. Don't get me wrong. I don't mind Godzilla.
I've never really been a King Kong fan, but now I have two King Kong movies that I love, so I guess I am now. I am now.
You're now Team Kong.
Yeah. Okay? How do you feel about Mighty Joe Young?
I didn't mind that movie either, though. You know what I mean? That, and I didn't mind Rampage. Based off the video game, the one with The Rock?
No.
Oh, so did you ever play the video game?
No.
So there was an old arcade game called Rampage, and actually it also, I think, was transferred onto, I think, both Sega and Nintendo.
Sure.
The only difference was in the game when you play one of the three monsters, Lizzie, which was a big lizard like Godzilla.
Cool.
I don't remember the other names, but there was a wolf man who was a giant wolf, werewolf.
Fucking cool.
And a giant ape or a giant gorilla, right? Just like King Kong. But they were people. So like if you're playing the game and you started, your energy got depleted because you were getting hurt all the time, you would shrink down into a naked person.
Oh, wow.
Right? And like the only difference was on Nintendo, like, I think it was on Nintendo, it was very it was very, covered, just like they did with Mortal Kombat. They couldn't have blood, and they couldn't, you know what I mean? It was more censored than on Sega,
Yeah.
But
that's how Nintendo and Sega work.
Yeah, because like one of them, I think it was the lizard was a girl. So obviously when she shrunk down, she was naked.
So instead, no, but her garments magically stayed intact.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
But no, but the only reason I brought that up was because that also has a giant gorilla in
oh, okay. Movie. Yeah. No, I've never heard of that game, but yeah, I've never been a fan of like the big ape, like archetype.
Oh, really?
But those two Kong movies are really good. So, but yeah, the Kaiju? What are we talking about again?
Oh yeah. So basically, this is where this whole question is going to always come down to this anyway.
Oh, okay.
Because everyone's going to want to know.
Oh.
Who would you think would really win?
It just depends. I think, if King Kong really is the same size as Godzilla, and they showed Godzilla like using weapons, like improvised weapons in the trailer. I mean, it's got to be Kong who wins then, because like Godzilla doesn't even have opposable thumbs. Like he's fucked.
Right? That's I know.
Opposable thumbs wins the day. Like
that's why I think that same thing. I think the intelligence and I'm not saying, I don't think Godzilla's stupid, because I also think they,
the King Kong movie that you did see. Do you remember when when Kong fights those two T-Rexes?
Oh,
what does he do to them?
Yeah,
he puts his hands in their mouths and snaps their fucking jaw.
Yeah.
That's what Kong would do to Godzilla if they really are the same size and strength. Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the only difference. If they went to the original sizes, I think originally Godzilla was bigger than Kong.
It's not even a contest.
And then it wouldn't be a contest, because Kong would not be big enough and strong enough.
But if you make them the same size, and if Kong is smarter than Godzilla, as he probably should be, since he's a higher ape, and like Godzilla's like essentially like a radioactive iguana.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
I know. I always looked at like, what kind of fucking lizard is Godzilla? You know what I mean? Like, what is it? Is he
supposed to be either an iguana? He's some sort of monitor lizard.
Like, can I see? I want to see a small version of Godzilla. Like, what? Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I want to go to PetSmart or Petco and like go to one of the little glass cages and be like, how much is that Godzilla? You know what I mean?
That mini Zilla.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that's my answer. Probably, I think King Kong should win in an even match, if you will. But if we go back to the OG sizes, this has got to be Godzilla.
So I think this one needs to be a little bit recapped. So recap, I think we both agree that it would be a united world. It would probably, if these monsters really existed, it would be a united world, a united military. The military would probably be the most important thing.
Boom in technology. Like, this is supposing that we can keep things intact, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because otherwise,
we're going to see a boom in like technology and industry and stuff like that.
Yeah, everything would be geared towards that. I even think on some level, entertainment for kids, everything like video games, whatever. I think all that would be geared. Yeah, it would be geared towards how to kill these kaiju and and train you basically at a young age.
Oh yeah, we would be conscripting kids at like 14. And like getting them ready, because like there's no choice. It's human survival or we all die.
Yeah. So. And these people would be like celebrity. Like you would they would probably have like kaiju killers. You know what I mean? Like you're like, oh, that's my favorite kaiju killer.
Just
you know
like
what I mean?
in World War II, you had the ace pilots.
Yeah, that would be. They would be the hot commodity right there for everything.
Yeah. So there it is.
Dude, could you imagine?
And that is all we have for you tonight. We will continue to bring you up-to-date coverage as new imaginings develop. Please don't forget to leave an iTunes review, like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Remember, you can follow us on YouTube and on Twitter at DCYImagine. And if you would like to contact us or tell us what you are imagining, you can email us at dudecouldyoumagine@gmail.com. This has been Fritz Frivolous, and from all of us here at Dude Could You Imagine, keep on imagining.